And the game award goes to, oh man, I have to pay a microtransaction to unlock. That's so stupid.
So originally this video was supposed to be a Zenless Zone Zero review, but I just couldn't play it. And it's not even like the game is bad, it's just, well, this is pretty much how I feel about Zenless Zone Zero.
I mean, it's alright, like...
It's more gacha games as a whole that I have an issue with, and it led me down a rabbit hole of asking the question, why do people play gacha games? No matter how much you enjoy a gacha game, I think we can all agree that they're just inherently bad video games by design. I mean, think about it. They are based around a business model that limits your gameplay, stretches out content, and asks ridiculous amounts of time and money from the player base in order to get anything done. And yet, people love these games. See, me, I find myself usually playing a game that is a gacha despite the fact that it's gacha, mainly because it's the only place where you're gonna get an anime game with any type of quality. But the gacha's always been an afterthought or a side effect, or something I've had to put up with. The fact that there are people who actively seek out gacha mechanics in a video game or only exclusively play gacha games, it's just like, who in their right mind enjoys these types of mechanics? Well, okay, right mind probably isn't something in the equation, but I'm not here just to shit on gacha gamers. In fact, I actually did a little bit of research, and by research, I went on one Reddit page and came to find out the answer is really not that deep. So like and subscribe, that's the video. I guess that's why people like gacha games. Okay, jokes aside, I actually left the forum having a more nuanced opinion about gacha games and sort of understanding why people like them so much. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but there are actually some benefits to gacha games compared to other games, and I'm just going to go over what I learned. And I'm not necessarily on either side, it's just, if you ever found yourself seeing some of these popular games and asking yourself, why do people play these games? Why are they so popular? I got you, bro. For one, people are just broke. And it's not even like they're broke as in broke, it's just that people don't have money to be spending on all these new video games coming out like that. They're trying to make $70 video games the new standard. Bro, in Canada, we're paying $90 to a whole bill for your average AAA video game. Do you want to be spending $100 every video game that comes out? I don't think so. And I can only imagine it's worse for people in other countries. So next time you want to make fun of that dude for not owning a PS5, ask yourself, how much does a PS5 cost in Brazil? But this isn't even mentioning the insane amount of layoffs, the ridiculous amount of spending on AAA games. It's not sustainable. But I guess the good thing about gacha games for players and the developers is that the whales can just cover it. Anyway, that was just one perspective I came across. And while we're on that subject, let's talk about monetization, the absolute most egregious part about these games. The monetization aspect of gacha games is extremely predatory. There's no ways around it. Not only is it ridiculously hard to guarantee yourself a character based on RNG in these games, there's also the psychological tricks they're using to keep you hooked and manipulate you into spending money. Based off principles alone, you can't blame somebody for staying away from these games completely, but if you have a thicker skin or you're just desensitized, you can kind of ignore this stuff. I mean, realistically, you don't need to spend money to actually play a lot of these gacha games. Maybe you don't get to play them how you want to, which is another topic for later in the video. But you can kind of skip around a lot of monetization, especially with the way gacha games have been going now. If you don't mind playing with a certain character or not playing with a certain character, you can get what feels like a full-length game, especially with updates later on in these games' development cycles. You can get a full-length game for pretty minimal cost. And if you're actually playing the game, there are a lot of ways to earn free currencies. Mixing that with a battle pass, it really can end up being less money than you would think it would be. Of course, again, these games are highly predatory, and for the highly compulsive user, I would just completely stay away. But if you have heard of the forbidden technique, the forbidden art, delayed gratification, then yeah, you can get away without paying for a lot of these games. But the funny thing about AAA games is a lot of them double dip. A lot of them have microtransactions on top of being full price. Some of them even gachas in them, which is insane to me. Again, this is not saying gacha is a good thing per se, but at least I feel like as a company you need to pick a side. You either load your game full of microtransactions and make it free, or make me pay full price straight up. Another reason I came across that people play gacha games, which is a crazy concept, but some of them are actually just fun. I know, insane, but gacha games have never been known for their quality of gameplay. In fact, some don't even have gameplay at all. But you gotta admit, some of these newer games have been looking pretty good. I don't know if it's because of the Trojan horse that was Genshin Impact, but it did the genre a service because everybody seems to be stepping their game up if you pay any attention to that area of gaming. And I only see it getting better. I saw a lot of mentions when it came to gacha games of the phenomenal art design and artwork in some of these games, which I'd have to agree on. A lot of this stuff looks really good, mainly because they probably have to sell the characters. But yeah, art design on point, character design on point. The storytelling in these games could use some work, if I'm being honest with you. But visually, these gacha games look so good that it attracts people off the artwork alone. Like, I'm sure a lot of people saw Diluc or Utao maybe in a trailer or a commercial and just decided to play the video game to unlock them. So yeah, a lot of the times with gacha games, it's not even about the gameplay per se, but more about everything around the game. They like to get attached to the world and the characters, which is pretty subjective. But when you compare it to AAA games, I mean, I'm not one for fan service, but at least they're giving the fans what they want, rather than shoving some sort of agenda down their throat. Here's looking at you, Spider-Man 2. And last of the most legitimate reasons I could find to play gacha games is that they're simply convenient and cozy video games. I can be kind of harsh on gacha games when judging them, but at the same time I almost forget sometimes that these games are supposed to be meant to be played on your phone in your spare time, not be taken seriously, very casually. And I think that's one of the biggest appeals of these games. Something you could be playing on your bus ride to work or school or wherever you're heading, on the toilet, wherever. I think that's the number one reason people play gacha games, is because they're easy to access, free, don't require much skill, so anyone can play them at any time, really. Oh, and then let's not forget another huge reason these games are so big is just the gambling. People are just gambling addicts, straight up, so there's that. What really gets to me with gacha games personally, and why I don't like them, is the restrictions on gameplay. Even if I'm not even going to use all my energy, it's the principle that counts. I don't like being disrespected. I don't like them treating me... I feel like I'm being cucked in my own video game, basically. Let me play the game when I want to play the game. Other than that, I don't have too much against gacha games. Monetization in gaming in general has gotten out of hand, but gacha is the same as any other. So I definitely think a gacha game is worth checking out until the honeymoon phase is over. As soon as that's over, you need to run and burn and kill it with fire. That's just how I feel. So yeah, that's pretty much all the reasons I could think of or find that people exclusively play gacha games. Obviously, if you are a gacha game only player, let me know in the comment sections. Did I hit the mark? Did I miss? After watching this, have I convinced you gacha games are not actually as bad as you thought they were? Or is the fact that I can compare them to AAA games in general just mean that the whole gaming industry is cooked? Let me know. Peace.